Hello guys, this is Bismarck and welcome back to another session on Rxjava operators. Today we will have a closer look at Photon operator in Rxjava. What is Photon operator? Photon operator is an operator in Rxjava that emits element that satisfies a specified conditions or a predicate test. It passes a predicate test. With this, let's take a look at an example. So let me give you a preamble, then we all will have a look at. So this is a filter marble, okay. And what is happening is this: we have 2, 30, 22, 5, 60, and 1. And these elements are passed through a filter operator with a predicate where x is greater than 10. So from the example or from the elements we will look at, so we are going to get only elements which are greater than 10. And we could see that 30 is greater than 10. 2 is not, so 2 will not be emitted. 30 is greater than 10. 22 is also greater than 10. 5 is not. 60 is greater than 10. And 1 is not. So at the end, we are going to have only 3 elements as our output. So how do we do this, or how do we actually use it in coding? Follow me to the session. So for example, this is our example in the marble. So we could have elements like 1, 2, up to 19. So if you want to have, or you want to only, you are just interested in elements that are, let's say, multiples of 3. In this case, what do we do? So we just pass the predicate test, and the predicate test is nothing like a condition, a specified or given condition. So we just want to have any element. When we take 3 and go into that element, we are going to have 0 as a remainder. It means it goes exactly into that element. So with this condition in programming, if you're a beginner here, we use modulo to get remainders. So the integer modulo 3, if it gives a remainder of 0, then it should emit that element. So let's see how we are going to, what values are we going to get out of this. So we could run this. And here we go. These are the elements that got outputted or emitted. We could see from the elements that though we have 1 to 19, but 3 is a multiple of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. As simple as that. Now let's take a look at the example that we had in the marble, and let's try to output or filter elements that are only greater than 10. How do we go by this? Now let me start afresh so that we will know how we get our predicate. So new predicate of integer. So what should be the condition or the predicate test? So the integer should be greater than 10. And let's run this and see how and what are the values do we get. We realize that we are going to get from 10 going. So as it started, it gave us 3, it gave us 11, 12, up to 19. And these are the values from the elements that are greater than 10. Now let's look at another example again. We have this range of numbers with this same preamble. We have this range of numbers. How do we get even numbers? Okay, for we to get an even number, this is a condition that we should pass to it. In getting an even number, mostly for even number, when we divide that particular number by 2, we should get 0 as a remainder. So this is a test for all the even integers. So in this instance, for we interested in even numbers, all that we do is the integer, which is so the element emitted, which is the integer, modulo 2. and it should give us a remainder 0. So should we run this, we are going to get all the integers, even integers within this range. We can see from the output, it gave us 2, 4, 6, up to 18. And how do we get our odd numbers? In programming, all the time, if you're interested in odd numbers, when you take the integer modulo 2, it should give you 1. What it means is that the number divided by 2 should give you a remainder of 1. Okay, and let's run this, and we are getting our odd numbers. It starts from 1 up to 90. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. These are the odd numbers we have in this range. Okay, so someone will be thinking, fine, we are using primitive data or primitive numbers in our test. How do we use an object? How do we filter out an object? So let's look at an example. Now, let me copy this whole example and place it here. So now we are going to have filtering operator with objects. Filtering operator with objects. Okay, so what we are coming to have is let's create an object. Okay, we are going to create an object. First of all, let's use this trick. We are going to use an array. So we have gender. This is an object I've created, gender array, which is going to give us genders of people. Okay, so we have it's equal to new. Fine, no new. Let's use new gender, and it takes the name of the person. So we could have Ernest here, and Ernest, is he a male? Yes, he's a male. So we return true here. Okay, we have Annie. Annie is a male. We have Rosalina, and is that person a male? No, it's a female. So we use false. The same goes for Alex. Is a male. Ernestina. So we can have Ernestina, female. So false. It's not a male. Justina, false. And so let's fill this up so that, okay, so I think with this element, we are okay with this element. Or Felix is a male. Kishore is a male. Swati is a female. Okay, and finally, we could have, okay, so these are our stream of objects, and we want to specify which of them are males and which of them are females. So this is our predicate test. So first of all, we are not going to use primitive numbers. Let's use this trick starting from, so we are going to use range starting from 0 to the size or the length of our data. Then what we can do is we try to map it. We're just trying to get each of the elements or each of the items at a particular position. So we are mapping this with a function. This is an integer, and it should give us, no, this should be, okay, yeah, our integer, and it should give us a gender, right? So genders of integer. So the integer is nothing but our index. Okay, so in our predicate test, we are going to have integers. So new So integer, sorry, gender, and same, it will give us a gender here, gender. So let's output or emit only females in this test. So gender dot is male. So let's emit gender dot is male. So we are going to emit only males in this test. So when we get this, I think we are not going to get, we want to get it in, we want to print them in a formatted string. So what we have to do is you go to the gender class and we have to also cover for toString, convert all our toString. Okay, so now let's run our test. Are we good to go? Okay, so yeah, so we have to bring our semicolon here and let's collect our subscription so that it can becomes clearer. So let's run this and let's see the males in this test. Sorry, we are still running the old example. Let's see the males in this test. Right, so Ernest is male, Anin, Alex, Felix, Kishore, Gideon. These are the males in our test or our sample. Now we can do the opposite of it. Let's try to get all the females in this test, and in here is male should be equal to false or simple. We could do something like have a negation. This is a boolean false, a negation, so it is going to give us or emit only individuals which are not males. So we get Roslina, Ernestina, Justina, Swati. So these are the females we have in our test. So guys, as I said, so initially we use a primitive data to get understanding of the filter operator, and then we look at an object. So based on your conditions, based on what you want to do, then you can use your predicate. So mostly the predicate is the engine, the condition that you pass to the filtering operator, and that's what you get from your outputs. Thank you guys, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do and subscribe to it, as and when I release a new video you get it in time. Thank you and have a happy coding.